Wanna shake the ground, wanna break away, let loose. I'm tired of waiting, gotta make that move. All the neon signs, now they shout to me and you to write our story. Wanna shape the new. Do you wanna come along with me? Come along with me. Do you wanna? And we ain't got nothing, gotta do something, get it right. Gonna keep on running, grab the fun and live it light. And tomorrow's far away, should I let the party fade? And we ain't got nothing, gotta do something, let us all tonight. Got a restless mind, and now I won't let go. So let us be crazy before we're cold. You can take us out, your doubts won't hold us down. 'Cause we're gonna light up the sky where we go. Oh, oh. Do you wanna come along with me? Come along with me. Do you wanna? And we ain't got nothing, gotta do something, get it right. Gonna keep on running, grab the fun and live it light. And tomorrow's far away, should I let the party fade? And we ain't got nothing, gotta do something, let us know tonight. I'm gonna let my hair down, I'm gonna take control. We're gonna make a big sound, we're gonna break the mold, the mold. And we ain't got nothing, gotta do something, get it right. Gonna keep on running, grab the fun and live it life. And we ain't got nothing, gotta do something, get it right. Gonna keep on running, grab the fun and live it life. And tomorrow's far away, should I let the party fade? And we ain't got nothing, gotta do something, let us know tonight. I belong to you.
I belong to you.
Do just what you want. You're the one I trust, and I'll always be around when I need some loving, baby. No one else.
Yeah. Let you down. belong to you.
Take me to your soul. No one else will let you do it.
Playing on my melody.
Yo!
What's up, everyone?
Yo!
Oh, there he is. Paginator Report Bear.
I'm here. I'm tired and I'm cranky, but I'm here.
Yeah, but that's always true, right?
Maybe about his friend, but the bear's usually in a good mood.
Oh, welcome everyone to Guy in a Cube. Happy Saturday to you. Thank you for joining us. And we have the pleasure to be joined by Mr. Chris Finlan and Paginator Report Bear. So if you're not familiar, Chris Finlan is a PM on the Power BI product team, and Paginator Report Bear just tags along and represents what Paginator Report Bear would say is the greatest feature inside of Power BI, which is Paginator Reports. That's right.
I'm in data flows.
Yep,
What are you talking about?
I'm a fan. You can see I'm a fan of the Paginator Report Bear.
Patrick and I are close friends. It's very good.
I went out and got my Paginator Report Bear shirt. You can see I'm sporting it this morning. Yep.
All right,
Nice.
Alex, I'm waiting. I haven't seen the no voices hashtag at all. Like, what's up with that?
No voices? I don't know.
Oh,
Alex.
man.
All right.
I love the voice. I love the voice. Keep doing it, Adam. I love the voice.
All right. So real quick, just shout out to all of the members of the Guy in a Cube channel. You guys help to support what we do here on the channel. Maybe you have seen over the last couple of videos, we've seen some comments of people saying, wow, the production value is very good. That is a direct result of the contributions that the members are doing for this channel. It's helped us take things to the next level. And for that, we thank you. So thank you for that. And let's see here. So I'm going to start this off real quick. David had a wonderful question and asked, how do we ask questions? And David, thank you so much for asking that. And so if you do have a question, please put Q: in front of the question. Chatmaster C is standing by to queue those up. Please do not spam the question. We have a 3 strikes rule, and that will result in a timeout if you hit that 3 strikes rule. All of the moderators have that capability to put someone in a timeout and just to help out, keep things civil. Things usually are. So thank you for that.
Civil.
And Chatmaster C is also has that ability as well. So awesome. So thank you for that question, David. And then Mr. Chris Wagner starting it off with a super chat. Thank you so much, sir. It's much appreciated. So for those of you not familiar, so Chris, tell us what you do on the Power BI team.
As little as possible.
All right. Well,
So, so I'm the PM who's in charge of the Paginator reports area, SQL Server reporting services, Power BI report server. My team also owns the area around mass distribution in Power BI. So talking about export to PowerPoint and PDF. That does not include export to Excel, interestingly enough. That's handled by a different team that does the Office pieces. And then obviously email subscriptions in the context of the service. So
yes.
we cover a wide area. I also, as you well know, have been involved recently with the SKU work with Power Premium per User. That is not normally an area my team covers. I kind of backed into that, so I work with a different team on that piece. But,
Yeah.
and I expect at some point that will roll off my plate, thankfully.
Yes.
Because setting up a new SKU at Microsoft is an interesting journey.
Yes. Yes. So definitely, if you do have questions around the premium per user, definitely get those going. Chris will be happy to answer those. I'm just gonna.
Happy is the right word. I will answer them.
Well, Paginator Report Bear will be happy to answer those. Chris may not be happy. And then the one thing I will fend off. I know I've seen some comments on there. The whole, is there any tease on the price perchance? I don't know.
I don't see you holding off on that at all. In fact, you just asked me right now.
Yeah.
No. Again, in terms of the pricing piece, look, this is just the way that the Microsoft policy works around these things. We can only announce the price as we get closer to GA. I can tell you that I was heavily involved, and I think I was mentioning on a podcast I was recording yesterday, I'm driven very much by a sense of fairness, and that has its positives and negatives in terms of how I kind of approach things. So if I wasn't happy or comfortable with this, I would not be out here putting my stamp on it in terms of, hey, premium per user's coming, and we'd be having this great, these announcements, and I'd be very forward and upfront when answering all these questions, because I don't really want people to come and chase me down when we actually go and do announce the price. So that's all I could say for it right now. But I'm sure you guys could ask Adam and Patrick, because they know what it is. So.
I don't know what you're talking about, Chris.
Well, that's fine. But this way I've deflected this now for the next 5 months.
It actually, so that knowledge leaves me when I change hats. So it's part of the other hat, and this hat, it doesn't have that knowledge. So.
That's fair. All right. So this is civilian Adam Saxton. That's fine. That's fine.
I have no idea how much it costs. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
All right. Anything else? I think we.
Anything else on price? No.
No. I'm thinking like in terms of like I need to have like I need to really put a checklist, because I always have to think about this. So if you are new to GuineCube or new to the live stream, put #new in the chat. We love seeing that. Always nice to see the new faces. And I'm ready for Thomas's not old comment. Oh, look at that. New Dos Equis BI consultant. All right. I like it. Very nice. So we got Vikas is new. Good to see you there. And then, yes, please remember, folks, put Q: in front of the questions. It looks like someone Russian is new as well. I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry. So always good. Data Train, Neil is ancient. Barath V, new. Awesome. Good to see you. So always great to see the new. Oh, Paginator Report Bear is new as well. Look at that.
Yep, that's right.
Very
I'm also having a
nice.
hard time staying in frame because it's early and I'm tired. So
Yes.
Also,
yes.
everything's backwards on my screen. So
Yes. Oh, man.
all right.
Oh, boy. All right. So we are going to get into the questions. I'm waiting for that to pop up. Mr. Mark Walter, thank you for the super chat. Great work. Thanks for all the great community content. You are most welcome, sir. And thank you for helping to support what we do. Always love it. Alrighty, and we had a few more news come in. Ragu and the 3M99. Good to see ya. All right, let us go into the questions. What do we got? So Matthew's got a question. We'll just start off here, and then we'll get into the serious stuff. So is it true that they always play ABBA during a Power BI all hands meeting?
I'll tell you what.
Patrick doesn't go to the all hands, so he doesn't know.
That was one of Matthew's greatest videos yesterday. I laughed at that so hard. Oh my god, that was so good. Really well done.
I don't go to the all hands,
Hey,
so
I'm
I don't
great
know.
at Excel. Who doesn't? That was really good. Oh man,
Oh, wow.
I've been down that journey that he covered quite well yesterday. It was really good.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, I love that. The lazy Excel thing. That was great. I loved it.
Oh man,
those
that
are
was
so
great.
good. Those are so
Because
good.
data flows.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
data flows.
Yeah, because data
Oh
flows.
man.
Wyatt, thank you so much for the super chat. Man, that's great to see. Thank you so much.
I like Jay Tarquino's question.
Okay.
Who,
Oh,
who is your
Jaime's
favorite
in here.
developer? Who is your favorite developer of the team? Well, clearly it's Jaime Tarquino
Yes.
because he's on the chat.
Yes.
So,
Hey, good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, so for folks who don't know, Jaime Tarquino, who's on Twitter, by the way, is an architect on the Paginator Reports SSRS team.
Yes.
He is a phenomenal developer, in all seriousness. He's one of my best friends, and he is, it's great to see him on here. He asked me via text, does he need to shave his head to participate in the chat? And I said, no, that was not necessary. It's not necessary. But yeah, no, it's
Hey,
nice to
this
see
is
Jaime out early.
not a fashion statement, guys. This is not a fashion
No,
statement.
I
There's
mean,
no hair. There's
You think
nothing
I had a
growing.
choice
There's
here,
just
guys.
no.
It is what it is.
I mean,
Making the best
good
of
to
a
see you.
bad situation. Yeah.
All right. Nick's actually, Nick, I'm gonna hold your question to members only. So also, by the way, the 30 minutes into this, we will cut over to member only chat where you will still be able to watch the chat, but only members will be able to participate in the chat as well as.
Wait, there's somebody else on it.
Yeah, Nikhil's on here too. So for those who don't know, Nikhil is responsible for Secure Embed, the Secure Embed
Look
feature.
at that! Look at
There
that!
you go.
Wow, we got a lot of
So,
the
there
product
you go.
team here today.
Yeah.
All right,
That's right.
excellent.
John,
All right.
John, me too. Oh, John Ludwig is on. Oh,
There.
that's great
All
to
right.
see my team on here. All right, I'll stop.
Whole team. The whole team.
Hey, it's a great team. It's a great team. I think I saw
Yes.
somebody on here as well. That's awesome.
Yes. All right.
Now Nikhil knows he's not Chris's favorite. Sorry, go ahead.
All right. So, is there any Power BI visuals where we can write large text with bullets, links, etc., similar to Word?
You know, you could use Paginator Reports for that. Just saying.
I knew he was going to say that. I knew he was going to say
Similar
that.
to Word. Guess what? There's a really great report option in Power BI that's coming to the masses with the introduction to Premium per User. Paginator Reports.
Yes.
There's a custom.
that.
There's a custom viz that you can use where you can tag HTML in it and do stuff like that. I forget which
Yep.
one it is.
Benny's got you covered.
Oh, there you go.
Benny's got you
There
covered.
you go.
HTML
There you go.
viewer.
There
Yep.
you go, Benny.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Embed. Oh.
Yes.
Am I supposed to be saying anything? Should I just shut up and
If-
answer these questions? I'm
If
sorry.
there is, so please put Q colon in front of the questions. If there is something that you do see, Chris, you have the power to bring it to the front of the list. So let's see here. I'm seeing a lot of stuff from members, so we may have to dig into that. But Benny's, Benny's got one too. All right, let's go with Garrett. I had a user ask for a filtered subscription. What's the best way to send out filtered RLS reports currently, or is that something in the pipeline?
So actually, now with the introduction so first of all, this is something that's planned in the context of Paginator Reports would be coming there first, Power BI reports to be further out. But you could actually do this now with the new Power Automate action. So if you're using Power BI dataset as your data source, you have the ability to send a subscription and it will filter through to each user and you'll go and be able to do that way. So that actually, with the recent Power Automate actions, makes that very, very simple to do. So either Paginator Report or Power BI Report, you should be able to handle that. So
Nice. Very nice.
Yep.
All right.
Power Automate.
All right. DJ Akaluna. Will we ever get export to Excel on subscriptions? And don't say you have analyze an Excel option.
no, you have the ability to do. So you have the ability to do export to Excel with a Paginator report and a subscription.
I was waiting for that one. That's where I thought he was going to go with it. Don't say.
So guess what? guess what? So you've got that already, and that's the subscription option. We don't have any plans right now to add Excel, because think about it in the context of how it works in Power BI. You'd be setting up an infrastructure where you'd have to pick a particular visual for that in the context of that. Another option, again, you're probably gonna be sick of me talking about Power Automate by the end of this, but another option you could do is you could just take a connection to a Power BI data set in Excel and set a Power Automate to go send that around in terms of an Excel sheet. So,
Yep. Good. Mr. Paul Turley, thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated.
what is a super chat?
Super chat is in the chat. You see that little dollar thing, and so it's like a.
Oh, okay. Now I know.
They're just
All right.
supporting the.
I see. I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
Hey, that's not my phone binging. That's not my phone.
No,
binging.
it's Chris's.
I just
It's
wanna make
mine.
sure.
It's mine. It's Jaime giving me grief about something.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
All right.
I'm used to that. So.
All right, so joking. How about search options and paginated report dropdowns? Is it on the roadmap? Wonder that neither exists in SSRS nor paginated reports in Power BI.
You can build it.
So guess what?
You can build it.
You talk about in terms of the dropdown for the parameters. Guess what? That is, if it's not there, it will be there very soon. We're testing that internally right now. We already have that filter feature built out. So if you start typing into one of the parameter boxes, have you tried that yet, Patrick?
I saw it. You showed it to me. I saw this.
Did I show it to you? I'm surprised.
You showed me this.
So I'll have to see exactly when that's rolling out. We were doing some testing, but it's there and it's working on at least for the stuff internally. But you should see it very, very soon. Yep.
Yep.
Very cool.
I saw it.
Very
I
cool.
saw it.
Yeah. No, it's very cool.
Let's see.
All right. Let's see here. Paginated reports.
Demo. Chris is saying demo.
Read mail merge publication.
Not sure what that means.
I don't know either.
Okay.
You know what a mail merge, right? In Word,
Yeah.
you can do the mail
I
merge
do
in
know what
Word.
mail merge
But-
is, but I don't know what that means.
No. So I'm guessing they're saying, hey, can we do something similar? But it's not. That's not how paginated works, right? You bring your data set in. Your data set contains all the data. But so we've done this. So if I have a letter, think about if I write a letter, and you can do this in paginated reports, and then you just create those.
course.
You insert the placeholders in the letter, so you can absolutely do it. It's just you got to build it. You can absolutely do that.
Yeah, I mean, you can clearly do that. I think one of the interesting things when people think about Word Online or using Word, one of the things with paginated reports is when you're talking about generating a large volume of documents where you'd be doing something like a mail merge.
Yep.
That's where obviously
right.
that's going to be. You don't really have that capability in the context of Word or Word Online, so that's the big challenge there. So.
Yep. And by the way, there were I saw several people asking for a demo of the filtered parameter thing.
I'll
So-
tell you what.
it's
I'll
not
create
out
I'll
anywhere,
create a
though.
little. Yeah, but I can create a little video on that, and I can make that available.
But it's not out anywhere where we could demo it, though, right,
No.
Chris?
It
Not yet.
should be. I mean, this is the thing. I got to check. I saw Swati on the in the chat. That I thought was done, so it should be there.
I'm gonna
I
look.
think
I'm
we were
looking
just-
right now.
Alright,
So
Pat-
let me.
Patrick's
I'm looking.
looking.
You guys keep going.
So if he gets a demo put
fine.
together, we'll show it. So awesome. All right. So Jason, is the limited export to Excel function designed to push users to paginated? I'm gonna go and say no on that.
No, but here, let me explain. Let me explain the challenge you have with export to Excel in the context of Power BI, because Power BI is everything's driven by analysis services. Analysis services is not optimized, let's say, for pushing lots of data out of it into a flat tabular format. And what we found in the context of paginated reports is, I mean, as the paginated reports PM and somebody who's been in this space a while, and I often say, Paul Turley's turning over in his grave, which is, of course, untrue since Paul's not dead. But if you think about, like, a lot of people are using paginated reports just to push out large tables of data and dumping it out. That's not really the canonical use case, but you certainly can do that. We've had to do a lot of work to optimize for that scenario. Like, it's not something where it's like, oh, Power BI is holding this back to try and push you all there. No, it actually is a significant amount of infrastructure you need to put in place to handle that sort of thing. And honestly, you would you would start seeing a lot of potential challenges in the service if suddenly they tried to make that wide open. I mean, there's a reason why that's limited in that way. It's not a business decision, rather it's something where it's a specific technical limitation. And I assure you, and the engineers in the team could probably chime in this, we have spent a lot of time based on customers trying to do this and feedback and things where we're optimizing for this on an ongoing basis. So it's just something where, again, the Paginator Reports infrastructure is simply better designed to handle that right now, and it has always been. And so that's really the reasoning why.
Nice.
Yep.
All right. Let's see here. PM has a item. Is there a way to have actions inside an app link to other reports inside the app? Cross-filter web links always open in new browser tabs, destroys the nice portal appeal. So they're talking about the published apps in the Power BI service. That's come up a few times. I know someone's asked like, hey, well, actually, Patrick, you were talking about that too, because we were talking about a customer scenario where we were like, hey, if we split these up across different workspaces, could we just add the link to the report in the app? I don't know of another way to do it right now, just because of limitation. I don't know, Chris, if you do anything with that. I knew the answer to that when I said it, by the way.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I mean, I could say one of the things we've gotten this in the context of Paginator Reports. There actually is in the URL parameters a way to stay in the same tab. We did this as a customer request that came in until we have the full drill through support from one Paginator report to another. So you can actually add something to your URL parameter. It's a little hacky because it refreshes the whole session, but it does keep you on the same tab. But it's documented out there. I forget the exact action.
Well, so when they say tab, though, they're talking about the tab in the published app, like the navigation piece, not the page in the report. Yeah.
Then my answer is useless. I apologize.
Yes. It's okay.
It's early.
It's all good.
For me.
It's all good. Okay, let's see here. So Gavin Clark, I know this was answered in the chat a little bit, but are embedded Paginator reports available for ASKUs?
Yes.
Yes.
So the great news and I think what this is, I'm going to take a little bit of time to just kind of call out why Premium Gen 2 is such a huge step forward. I know people think, hey, Microsoft, you're clearly trying to limit Paginator reports to the higher SKUs because you're trying to soak us little guys from using this, and how dare you do this? It was not that. The way that Premium Gen 1 has worked incredibly well for any number of customers for the last few years, and it's really opened up a lot of things for larger deployments because, again, it's a price model and a deployment model that made a lot of sense for larger enterprises. When it comes to the ASKUs, the way that it was architected, we simply couldn't run Paginator reports in these lower ASKUs to date. It was a technical limitation, and essentially Premium needed to be rebuilt, or the infrastructure needed to be rebuilt to handle this because of the way that SSRS has been around a long, long time, and it gives you incredible freedom to go run code. And when I talk about code, even things like expressions are considered code when you're talking to the Azure security team. And so when you have things like this and this incredible flexibility, you need to have proper security in place to handle that. So we needed to make sure that we had in place, containers for each session. And I'm not going to get too into the weeds on what containers is, but we had to make sure we had proper isolation for each session, for each user in that context. And now with Premium Gen 2, we have that. We have each workload is now running separately, and it's optimized for those particular workloads. So it's just handled by this central platform. So now we will be available down to A1 and EM1 because of Premium Gen 2. And that's a huge deal. It's a huge deal in terms of the flexibility it opens up, especially when you combine it with the export API going to GA here shortly for Paginator reports. That's an amazing advance forward, because on-prem SSRS customers, one of the things I always heard is our frustration is we have this very spiky workload. I mean, for 5 or 7 days a month, we're sending out 500,000 to 1 million billing statements for things like that. We need more capacity. We can't do that on-prem. Now you're going to be able to do that. And so, yes, absolutely, the ASQs support that. And I highly encourage you to keep an eye out for that in terms of what you'll be able to do and scale up and down and stuff. Exactly. So awesome. I know I've seen Patrick gesturing wildly, so he's confusing.
Let's go to my laptop.
Oh, let's go over to Patrick's laptop. All right.
Star wipe, and we're there. All right, good.
There we go.
So I did a very basic report, just a very simple report. And with the parameter on it, if I type, there's the search. Look at there.
Boom.
All right, Chris.
Wait, you gotta zoom in on that.
Okay. Right there, you can just type right here.
Yeah.
Wait. Still control 4.
Yeah, good job.
Right.
Good job.
Wow.
So now I can type in the box, right? And now
Nice.
it runs the report.
That's great.
Yeah,
Nice.
nice. All right. It's awesome. Good job. There you go, Chris Wagner. That's who was asking for the demo. I saw it.
Very good. Very
good.
All right, I'm back.
Thank you, Patrick.
I'm back.
Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. So there was Patrick. There is a question for you now that you're back. This one's going to sing to you. So Pascal it was a two-parter thing, but I'm going to throw it in there because it's a good one. We are currently running an S9 analysis services, but unfortunately we have almost exceeded the memory limit of 400 gig with our data model, and now have an alternative Power BI Premium. Where's the second part? And the second part. So with the combination of composite models, a discarded alternative was to switch from PaaS to IaaS, so platform as a service versus infrastructure as a service, and create a huge VM. Do you know other alternatives for huge data models? All right, Patrick, go.
So the only other alternative that I can get, well, first you need to optimize the size of your model. So I don't know if you've taken the steps, and Adam and I talk about this in a lot of videos, and I'm assuming since you have a data model this big that you have the XMLA endpoint available. So there's some properties that you can go and set. You can look at the encoding. You can look at the hierarchy, the available in MDX property. You can go set that. So the first thing I would do is try to shrink that model down. That's the very first thing I would do. And if you can't do that, you got to go to IaaS. And if you can't do that, you got to split your model and wait for composite models patiently to come out. If you have a model that big, you need to reach out to someone at your account team at Microsoft.
Yeah.
And somebody needs to talk to you, so they can help you out with that. I would definitely do that.
Of note, like Patrick actually had this conversation with someone
Yes.
2 weeks ago
Yes.
or something like that. Or you
Yeah,
may still
2
be
weeks
working
ago.
with them on it too. But
I was on the phone with them last night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
It's been a journey. It's been a journey.
It's been.
There
a
are
journey.
so many
It's been a
questions
journey.
coming in the chat. I cannot possibly.
Don't worry, I got them all. I got them.
Oh my God.
We're good.
Okay, guys.
Welcome to Guy in a Cube.
Oh my God.
So Will
Crazy.
Thompson, Will Thompson
Oh,
just
Will is
landed in the chat. Yeah.
Oh, are you gonna talk about the logo?
Hang on. I've got. Hang on. Matthew actually has a question for you. So would you say that the sole or primary motivation for Premium Gem 2 was to bring Paginator reports to more people? Is that the real reason?
No, it was not. It was not the.
That's a
It
good
was not the
one.
real.
That's a
It was
good
not
one.
the real reason. I think that it was one of the primary drivers. But I think that in terms, I mean, what it did is that it provided all these benefits in terms of performance and scalability, but it did make available these features across a variety of new price points. And I think that that's a big, big deal. And as I was thinking about it, it's interesting. I saw Bogdan Kravat from who's the lead engineering manager for the area I roll up into. I was talking to him about this not that long ago, and it's just amazing what Premium Gen 2 means for Paginator reports, because as you think about some of the things with auto scale and things like that, Paginator reports is very, very, it fits into this new infrastructure very nicely in a way that we just haven't been able to do for quite some time. It's always been interesting. I just had an email exchange yesterday. Well, you've got Azure this and Azure AS and this. Why isn't there an Azure reporting services? And the decision was made at the time, and I'm not going to revisit history here, to go right into Power BI with RS. So it's this is something where now you really have this option for people in a combination of A SKUs and the export API, where for a lot of these applications they just need to be able to call an API and have the stuff printed out. So it's really, really exciting. I mean, I'm legitimately really excited, and I think this was something that was kind of undersold this week. I know there's a lot of excitement around Premium per user, but the capabilities and the opportunities that you now have, not just with Paginator reports, but with all the workloads, with AI and other things in the context of Premium Gen 2, it's really exciting. And I'm telling you, I was running a Paginator report in an EM2 the other day, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is the first time ever. It's super fast. It just works. It's really a very exciting time. So.
And Jason agrees with you. Way undersold.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
it-
I was
it's-
talking to him yesterday.
Yeah, it's new too. So I mean, we're going to hear more information about it as we go on.
Yes.
And so once people get their hands on it too, I think we'll see a lot more stuff around it in terms of buzz and everything. So
I'm also going to call out Bogdan because we were so close to having T-SQL support for against the Power BI dataset, and Bogdan
Really?
cut it. Bogdan Cravat is the man who crushed my dream about having T-SQL against that. You know, I'm gonna hear about this later, but
is he in the chat? Oh, he is in the chat.
he is in the chat. He's in the chat.
Oh, wow.
I'm surprised he's not calling me right now.
Oh wow.
I love Bogdan. He's another
love
man
Bogdan
with
too.
follically challenged.
I love
gentleman.
Bogdan. I work a lot with Bogdan. Yes.
Bogdan is a rock star. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Plays a mean
Yes.
guitar too.
Yes. Yes. All right. Let's sneak in one more before we cut over. Uh-oh.
Wait. Before you, I forgot one thing about the large model.
So
Something
we should
else
go back
that
to your
you could look
machine,
at.
or no? Yes.
No, you don't have to go back to machine. With a model that size, I'm sure you guys have exhausted all types of scenarios. But a composite model today with direct query and aggregations is something else you can consider if you haven't. Right, that'll
Yes.
help reduce the size. Anyway, sorry.
Yep. All right. So let's see here. Let me grab one more before we go over. Let's see. I'm trying to find one that is interesting for Chris. Not actually seeing. Well, I don't.
I actually saw
see-
one earlier.
Did you?
I saw one earlier
was
about
it?
they were asking about filter support for email subscriptions. The ability to set an email subscription and have your filter values respected for the subscription itself for Power BI reports.
Okay. I
Yeah.
don't.
So
see that.
that's something we certainly would like to do. I would say, and I know Nikhil is on here and Jaime are on here. I can tell you that email subscriptions are extraordinarily popular, which is great. But at the same time, that there's a lot of things we have to do to keep that thing, to make sure that those run on time, and the scale around that is enormous. There was an estimate that when we add that feature, it would potentially increase the number of subscriptions 4 to 6 times over the current number. So that's something in terms of the infrastructure required and what we need to do there. We have to be very, very cognizant of how we scale to support that type of feature. So it's something we absolutely want to do. It's just in terms of timing, that's going to be a ways out.
Yep. Awesome.
And
All
again,
right.
Paginator reports support parameters, so
Yes, they do.
go that route.
Alrighty, it is 30 minutes in. We are going to cut over to member-only chat. You can still watch the stream, but only members will be able to talk in the chat along with moderators, and super chats always take priority. So we are going to cut over to that. Members, please resubmit your questions if you did already, just so we can get them back to the top of the queue so we don't lose track of it. Now is your chance. So let's go, and we were cutting over to members only. That should go through. Yes. All right. So first thing we're going to do is cut over to a member send in a question beforehand. So members with the visitor tier or above have the option of submitting a question before the stream and getting it queued up. So we are going to go to that. So Dims and Fax asks, what is Excel data types, and how do you add enterprise certified Power BI data sets to the Excel data type ribbon? Great question. And so to demo this, Patrick and I were actually talking about this before screen, and you're going to see a little bit of frustration on my end. So let's cut over to my machine, and we will show this real quick. All right, so I am in a Power BI report. Right now, it is a preview feature. So I'm going to go to options, go to preview features. And then you need to make sure that featured tables is enabled from a preview perspective, and then restart Power BI Desktop. Once that's done, you can cut over to the model view, select your table of choice, and then you're going to see a couple things here. You're going to see is featured table. So that needs to be turned on, and you have to give the label and key column as part of it. Then publish it to the service. And from an Excel perspective, so let me go into, why didn't I have that open up? All right. So from an Excel perspective, what you're going to see, this is right now you have to be on the insider build of Power or of Office. And originally this was labeled as only available for E5, people with an E5 license. I think that may still be in effect. I'm not sure, but they did comment that's going to get rolled back to E3 as well. And then once you have that, you will see this, whoa, that wasn't what I wanted. Cancel. You'll see this data types area where you can have it. And what you'll see here is this customer and product. So these are enabled from a Power BI dataset from that is featured table piece. However, the ones that you're seeing here are actually from a dataset that Patrick published and not the one that I published, because for some reason that's not showing up and I haven't figured that out yet. And in fact, as we were doing, he's like, no, it works for me. And he did the product one and just put that up there in a different workspace and it worked just fine and popped up immediately. But mine does not show that at all. And then, so the idea of these is once you actually have those items, so let's see if this actually works. Let me do Cole, and then we'll do customer. Should show something. Yep, over here. So it's going to go D3. And then it doesn't find that. I don't know. I'm just searching for a random name.
So you know what, Adam?
Yeah.
Like, just go back in the cell and put like a number. Put like 319 and click product. Put 319 in any cell. 319. Yeah. And then click product. I mean, click away and click product.
Click away and click product.
Yeah, click right there and I'll type 319. Hit away. Get away. Get away. Get away. Right there. Type 319. Now click product. No, just click product in the database. Yeah. You got to click away and click back.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
So then it just showed it immediately. So the other thing you'll see is this little icon right next to it. And if I click on that, it'll actually show in a data card like the items about that item that relates to that data type. So those are things you can play around with. The other thing from the insider build that a lot of people didn't know, and Patrick shows about this, is this from Power BI. So you can pull in a data set directly into Excel as well. So those are on the insider build. So, yep, good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So I'm still frustrated mine hasn't showed up yet. That's not.
It's Excel, man. We're not used to this Excel thing. We're not used to this.
Boo-hoo, Sexton. Boo-hoo.
We're not used to this Excel
I can't
thing.
use Excel. Poor me.
It's taking us out of our comfort zone, man.
Yeah. All right. So Paul Walters, thank you for becoming a member. Much appreciated. All right. So let's kick off. So some of the there was another member question that was earlier. I don't know if he resubmitted it, but I'm just going to throw it back out there because I know that Will is here. So Benny asks, what are your thoughts on the new Power BI logo icon? You can be honest, Will's not here, but Will is actually here. So
Yeah, but he's not. I don't think he's a paying member, so he can't say.
No, I made him a moderator so he can.
Oh, you made him a moderator.
I did specifically for this reason.
Do we have any questions that I can answer in terms of?
Yes. All right. So let's go back.
There's a good one from Damu. There's a good one from Damu. Do you see it? When will?
Yeah, that's a great one. Hi, Paginator.
I did see
Hello.
it.
Good to see you.
Why do I not?
Hi.
Oh, I need to go back to Q. Yeah. Let me grab Damu's. Here it is. All right.
I like this question.
When is drill through reports coming to Paginator reports?
Yeah, I know you like this question. Since the devs can't chime in, I've been trying to get this, and the devs have just pushed back on me. No.
I made them moderators also, by the way.
No, don't do that. My plans are foiled. No, in all seriousness, drill through in the context of one Paginator report to another is that's kind of the last big thing in terms of RDL feature parity between SSRS and the service we need to get to. That's planned. I'd like to get to it in the next few months. I think it's going to be challenging with all the other stuff we're doing here. In terms of drill through from a Power BI report to a Paginator report, there's some interesting things happening around that. I saw this mentioned earlier in the chat, and you're going to see this actually called out in the release notes coming soon. We're planning to add a Paginator report visual to Power BI Desktop.
Jeez.
That looks really cool.
Yeah, so you will be able to go and add a visual directly to desktop, and you'll be able to connect your filters to all the parameter values in there. And then when you cross highlight or filter, it'll actually change your Paginator report, and you can print that independently. And so that will be the first step in a number of things you're going to see us iterate on there. One of the things we've talked about as kind of a next step is because we'll have access to the data model, you can literally just drag and drop fields to a Paginator report right there in the visual, make it on the fly. And then if you want to do a large data export that keeps that format, you'll be able to do that. And then, as I talked about a web-based authoring experience.
Wait, Chris. Wait. So you're
By the way,
gonna
no
let
one
me
can
do
see your
sub-reports.
hands, by the way.
I see.
You're going to let me do sub-reports in a Power BI report. You're going to let me do a sub-report.
Yep. With a Paginator report, absolutely.
Anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
Micah says his leadership loves them some printouts, so that'll be game changing.
This will be game changing. So I want to make sure the devs see this because they've been giving me grief about this for quite some time, and I think people have warmed up to it more and more. But this is one of these things where I've talked about it now. We've done it twice as a hackathon project internally, and it is one of my. I'm really, really excited about this. And I talked to Will. He's actually really excited about it as well. He's going to be helping us out and making sure it's prominently featured in the desktop. So, yeah, It's going to be great.
And so I don't know that that's been mentioned anywhere else either. So you may have heard that
this
first here.
This is breaking. This is breaking news.
Wow. Look at that.
You heard it here first.
All right.
It here first.
Appreciate that.
I'm going to Twitter right now. I can create sub-reports in Power BI.
Damu is saying, Chris likes to say, I don't like customers, but the reality is that I love to give the features that work smoothly. Jaime is awesome. Yeah, so this is more in line with thank you, Chris, for your awesome leadership to bring the things we need. Hashtag JCarquino.
All right. So Scott Mueller, is the data-driven subscription functionality and reporting services coming to Paginator reports in the service?
Yes. But will it be exactly the same as SSRS? I mean, in SSRS, you've got to go and write a brand new query. I don't think we necessarily want people to have to do that in the service. So you're going to have, I say it's similar functionality in the context of data-driven subscriptions. Again, you can do this right now with Power Automate. We actually are publishing some templates out there that basically get you started to do that very, very easily. I understand everybody would like to have it right in the service. We are planning to do that. The other one was an interesting one. So we are planning to add the ability to pin to a dashboard, but you can actually do that right now if you make it a web tile for your dashboard and just put the secure embed item in there for your Paginator report. It just works. So that's a little workaround there you can use.
John commented on the data-driven subscriptions that he wouldn't want that to be exactly the same.
That's what I'm thinking because it's not necessarily the most user-friendly way to set it up in the context of SSRS.
Yeah. So and then Yoku, thank you for becoming a member, and Chris Wagner, thanks for the super chat, buddy. All right. Leandro has a good question for you. Chris, I created a data flow. He meant without the space. With premium per user. Will pro users be able to use that?
So
it's a good question.
Oh, that's a good question.
It's a tricky question.
I know it is.
So
you're saying it depends?
I'm trying not to say it depends. This is one where there is a use case where right now you can go and you can create a data flow in the context of premium, and you can go and consume that in a data set in a non-premium workspace where you can import the data. That, at least for public preview, you will be allowed to do. Now, we're going to see how that goes. I think I want to make very clear about something, when we went to set this SKU up, and we have a very successful business with Power BI. I know it's not perfect, but it's a very successful business model we have here. And the specific reasoning around this SKU and setting this up and adding it was to address a specific space that was not being met right now for a certain segment of customers. And so we have Pro, we have Premium, and then you have this group of customers of certain size, and everybody does the math in terms of like, oh, the cutoff is, essentially 500 users. So you have this 0 to 500 range. So the idea was, let's add something that would allow people to get access to this, but not disrupt the existing premium business. So I am very, very comfortable with where we landed in terms of the price point and the fact that everybody needs a license, because I see this question has come up repeatedly, and it's effectively the variation of the same thing. Can I work around the existing requirements to use premium by getting 1 or 2 premium per user licenses and then letting all my pro users consume that content? And I'm very, very cognizant of that, and for better or worse. And again, I'm comfortable with where we landed with this. Everybody needs the same license to go consume that content. There is this use case where you potentially can leverage that in that way. Another one that I mentioned in the FAQ, for email subscriptions for attachments. If you have an attachment for your email subscription, everybody's getting the same attachment. We actually let you add pro users to get the subscribed content, because otherwise you're just going to send it to yourself and forward it to everybody. So it didn't seem to make sense to block that. And on that note, one of Adam Saxton's favorite features, email subscriptions with attachments for Power BI reports. That was promised in the public roadmap. That is something we're working on. That will be a premium only feature.
By the way, Micah's very interested in that as well.
Yeah, and that's something that, and you're thinking like, oh, well, that was some sort of business decision for there. Actually, we probably couldn't have done it if it wasn't a premium only feature, because of the amount of load it puts on the system. And there's a lot of complications there in terms of making sure you get the email subscription on time, and because of the way, the amount of users we have there. So there will be premium only, but again, that was one of the reasons why, in the context of premium per user, you can go and add pro users and they can get that subscribed content. So
awesome. Great question. Yep. Benny's got one that kind of tags along with that. When premium per user public preview ends and no paid premium per user subscriptions are added, will that immediately halt and disable the content in the workspace, similar to pro trial subscriptions right now?
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
No need to elaborate on that.
All right. There you go. There you go. All right. Let's do, let's see. Laura, writing an intro to Paginator Reports course, what should be the 3 best practices I include? If it's in a rectangle and it's not working, take it out of the rectangle. If it's not in a rectangle and it's not working, put it in a rectangle.
Boy,
seriously, that's like,
think about Laura. Laura, think about, and blank pages is something you need to talk about, but something else is sourcing your data. I know Patrick always talking about data, but sourcing your data, you got to think carefully about where the data is coming from. Are you going to use a Power BI data set? Are you going to use SQL Server? That's something that I think should be talked about at the beginning, because we don't have shared data sets anymore like we had in SSRS, but in Paginated Report, we could use Power BI data set. So that should be the first thing you talk about. And then maybe if you're going to distribute this to your organization, maybe you should talk about having some common theme that you're going to use across the organization, right? How are you going to design the reports, the look and feel of the reports? And then if you go to docs.powerbi.com, there's a section on the docs page that talks about, when to use a paginated report. I think that is something critical that you have to talk about, because people say, oh, I'm just going to migrate everything to Power BI, but you just can't. There's a place. Paginated reports, they have a place, and you should definitely, when you're talking about data sources and you should talk about why first, then talk about your data sources, then design best practices. That would probably be how I do it. There's a great report in a day content. I think what's his name? What's it?
Peter Myers.
Alex posted a link to it. You should go check it out, because Peter is some great content. So anyway, I used to teach a paginated report class.
So I saw a comment come up about Power BI Report Builder and how they were trying to pull in 500,000 rows. I think it was. Hold on, because I want to. Gosh, these questions just come so fast. I can't even keep up here in terms of Fernando. I gave up with Power BI Report Builder. It freezes. I tried. Oh, God knows I tried. Working with 500,000 rows table, is it too much to handle? So here's the thing with Power BI Report Builder. Well, look, I'm not going to sit here and like pound my fist that this is the greatest tool ever made. It is something that we're well aware of in terms of for net new users and usability. There's a much steeper learning curve. One of the challenges people have, however, is they try to use it like Power BI Desktop. It is not meant to be used like Power BI Desktop.
Yep.
You don't need to bring in all of your data. So one of the things, and Jaime and Nikhil and some of the devs are on this call. One of the things we never get calls around is it works in desktop, but then doesn't work in the service. Because guess what? If it doesn't work in Power BI Report Builder, it's not going to work in the service. And so you can do things like set parameters for your queries to only bring down a subset of data, create your report, and then publish it up to the service where you have more memory, and then you can take advantage of that. And this is something where, again, I understand, if you're trying to use a Power BI data set, and this is the same thing we talked about in terms of the export, when you're trying to stream down a lot of data. I know somebody earlier mentioned like, oh, well, you can use DAX Studio to go pull out a lot of data. I guarantee if that became widespread and a lot of people were doing that, we would probably have to shut off the ability to do that because it would crash the service in terms of the AS models. So understand that this is something where, sure.
No, keep going, Chris. I didn't mean keep going. I thought you were done.
Well, you're
Keep
pointing at me now, and I'm seeing it on a 3-second delay over here, and then here, and now. So
It's just a lot of pointing. I should point at you too.
So it's something like, look, I totally understand that Power BI Report Builder is not perfect, and we are planning a web-based authoring experience, which we're starting. Basically now it's going to take us a while, but this is something where we're going to have this supplemental authoring ability, and you're going to see a lot of stuff lighting up there. But that's going to be something you see over time. But Power BI Report Builder, honestly, if you're doing, it's incredibly powerful, but with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes.
As Uncle Ben once said.
Yes. All right. So Greg Kramer, good to see you as a member, buddy. Hope you're doing well. We also had 2 super chats come in with questions, so we'll get to those. So Corey had one. So Corey, thank you for the super chat. Can Power BI be an advantage for e-commerce, DTC brands, which I don't know what that means, and their advertising efforts? If so, how and why? You guys are awesome. Thanks for everything you do. In terms of, I would say yes. If there's data that you can report on, tell a data story and a journey with that, absolutely. You can leverage Power BI to help you do that. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link in the chat to a YouTube channel called Seer Interactive. I don't know if this is where you're going with it, but Will Reynolds, who's a friend of ours over there, it's a marketing firm. They do a lot with SEO, things of that nature. He's got Power BI videos in there, like how to work with SEO data. So maybe that'll give you some ideas of kind of where you can go from an e-commerce perspective. So hopefully that helps you out. So in general, I would say yes. It's just a question of the data that you're trying to report on and the story you're trying to tell with that data. I don't know, Patrick or Chris, if you have any other thoughts on that.
I don't.
You're spot on.
Cool.
There's an interesting question from Michael.
Wait,
Michael Mercado.
Yeah. So that was the next one. So Michael, thank you for the super chat. So his question was, in Power BI paginating reports, is there a performance difference in using the AS XMLA versus Power BI dataset connector, or is the same behind the scenes? Great question.
So it's interesting. So behind this, so when you use the Power BI dataset connection dialog, you're actually connecting through the Analyze in Excel endpoint, and you're using ADO.NET. We actually went and added that specifically for Power BI Report Builder, and because then obviously you can connect to all the data sets in Power BI, not just those that are housed in your premium capacity workspaces. In terms of performance, there is something that people are doing is if they run into 2 gigs of data they're trying to pull or more, they need to go and use the XMLA endpoint, because that actually doesn't have the same limitation that Analyze in Excel does in terms of the amount of data that can be streamed. From a performance difference, anecdotally, I can tell you that in general, I've seen that the Power BI dataset connection is a little zippier. I think the XMLA endpoint, in terms of the amount of data it can handle, there's an advantage there. But in general, we steer people towards the Power BI dataset connection.
Nice.
And when you start, I know your devs on there. The dev guys are there using that query designer thing in Power BI Report Builder. write your own DAX, okay? And then you have to be really careful because sometimes if you don't include a measure, and you got to go read Marco's blog post about this auto exist feature in DAX. Sometimes it'll produce this Cartesian product and it'll kill your paginated report. It'll pull all this data down. So you got to be really careful, how you construct that query. So just, if both of them work. I do agree that the data set is faster, but be careful with the DAX. You got to be careful and understand how it's generating the DAX.
Yep.
So on that point,
Here we go.
I hate to do this. I defend the graphic query designer only because if you go and use DAX Studio and their graphic query designer, it generates the same queries. So it's not like we did something specifically. So even the great Marco Russo. Yeah.
I'm just saying, understand your DAX. Understand your DAX. That's what I'm telling you. Because we get a lot of calls. People say, oh, my paginated report is getting out of memory. Understand what you're doing when you use the designer. Don't just say, oh, I'm going to do these things, and then it crashes out, right? It's not the designer's fault. It's how you constructed the query in the designer. So you just need to understand what you're doing.
I feel like I should have brought some popcorn to this.
This is just a typical call. This is just a typical call with me and Patrick because it calls me almost every day. So.
Yes. So just real quick, following up on Corey's thing, Kevin Arnold said DTC is direct to consumer, so that's good to know. You learn something every day. And then Micah also added a comment saying the September release blog included a multi-touch attribution template for online advertising. So that's good.
Cool.
That's nice.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Didn't know that either. All right. Let's get back into this. We still got some time. Let's see here. Whoa, what happened there? Let's see. All right. So Micah actually had a question. Do you see Power BI Report Builder and Power BI Desktop merging one day? I feel like the programs are too different to be combined.
Yeah, I answered this to a certain extent in the
you said
chat.
the web-based piece.
Yeah, the web-based authoring piece. So, I mean, you probably see it surface in the context of that visual at some point where you'd be able to use the web-based authoring directly from that, similar to some of the stuff you can say do with Esri or some of the other items in there. But we wouldn't specifically combine the two tools into one.
Yes. Yep. All right. So, let's go to.
This is a lot of questions.
I know.
It is a lot of questions.
I know.
Holy smokes.
I can't.
All right, Nick. Chris, we have standard non-interactive scorecard KPI Power BI reports designed to PDF out. Each page is the same. It's just the department that changes. Can this be done with paginated?
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Just do a grouping. Do a grouping on a rectangle or something, and then just say page break after the group on department, and it'll start on each page. Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, Patrick has a video on this.
Paul, I do, but I think in the one of Paul Turley's books, in the patterns, his patterns book, whatever.
It's the recipe.
What is it called?
Recipes.
The recipe book.
I'm just pulling this up because it's relevant.
Yeah. I think he has it.
He's updating the recipes book, by the way.
Yes, that's why he's asking. Do you know of any good books? I strongly encouraged him to do that because that is one of my all-time favorite books. I love it.
I have it. I wasn't prepared. It's in my closet, so I don't have it.
I have three,
and it's old. It's an old book.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's
great,
awesome.
Good book, Paul.
Awesome.
Yeah, Paul and Robert
book,
Bruckner worked on that, and it is a good book. So I'm glad to hear he's updating that. So.
Yeah, great book. Great book.
Okay, so Nick, hopefully that got you pointed in the right direction. So Chris Wagner.
Oh, I gotta find a video for Nick. I have a video out there.
The custom visual.
Well, I'm gonna post. Yeah.
We already talked about the custom visual.
Yeah. All right, so we're good on that.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, so I think he had a different aspect though, because he was asking about the embedded capabilities.
He says you answered that. So there you go.
There we go. Good. So will Power BI Report Builder be part of external tools anytime soon?
Oh man. So
that's a great question.
Is it? So actually, one of the MVPs went and already did this. They made it available, the external tools. We had planned, I had wanted to do this, and I'm not going to blame Jaime for this, but I would say the devs wanted
Sounds
to
like
go.
you are.
The devs wanted to go above and beyond what I wanted to do there, and so where you would probably see this surface now is in the context of that visual. So you'd have the ability to potentially launch out to Report Builder if you want to go create a Paginator report directly from that. Yeah, no, I can, but I was trying not to, Jaime. I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. It wasn't just Jaime. There was a gaggle of devs who objected to some of the stuff in that. So yes, I mean, you'll have the ability to launch Power BI Report Builder from that. But again, one of the MVPs has already went and made that available. So.
Yep. All right, so this is good. This actually, there were a couple
Blame
of questions. Yeah.
I don't know. Jaime's in a good mood normally.
Yeah. So John asked, "What's the current migration story for on-premises reports?" And there, Leandro had another one. Was there any plan for like export from on-premises reports to the Power BI service?
So there is the migration tool that's available on GitHub that people can use. I will say that even Patrick has struggled at times with that tool. What it does is it goes. It's just basically a command line tool that'll move all of your reports from a single folder up to the service. It checks and makes sure that the data sources are supported or the features that are used in the RDL are supported before it pushes it up. I think one of the things that's interesting with that is it'll convert your shared data sources or shared data sets to an embedded data source and data set on the fly. I do think one of the things we're planning to do there, whether this lands, I think in my mind, what I'm planning to do is in Power BI Report Builder, in one of the menus, you'd be able to essentially launch the tools via GUI and go and use it there with just a simple, like, choose this folder, choose this workspace, and then migrate everything that's there to just make that much simpler. There's some questions on whether we should make that a separate tool. I'd prefer to just have it in Power BI Report Builder so people don't have to worry about multiple tools, but the plan is to absolutely make that more robust, and especially, we're planning to add ODBC support in terms of data source support here in the next few months. That's something that'll unlock a lot of additional reports that can be migrated, because that was one of the limitations we had in the service. So,
all right, and so we are kind of at time.
Read the instructions carefully.
Oh man. The one last question here I'm just going to throw out. So this will be the last one. So Kyle had a question. Curious to hear how premium per user licensing will work with the concept of a service account. Could I create a service account with premium per user and use that to make XMLA and other features?
No. If for some reason that this was one of the things was specifically called out that we have to make sure is we cannot allow this to become a way to circumvent one of the primary reasons that people buy premium, which is the ability to distribute content broadly across an organization. I know that people may be irritated or angry about this. I'm very, very firm in this, in terms of this is something that would absolutely kill the ability to make this license available to people, especially at the price points that we're looking at. So please,
Chris, what's the price?
All these questions. I don't know, Patrick. What is the price?
Yeah. All right. So that will do it for this Saturday. Chris, thank you so much for taking the time, getting up early to hang out with us and answer a lot of questions.
I know I missed a ton. I almost feel bad. I should go back to the chat.
We feel bad every week because it's just impossible to get through all of them. There's usually a lot.
I really do feel bad.
Yep. So thanks. And based on all the questions, we'll look at maybe bringing you back on again down the road. Maybe once it's actually released and people have some time to play with it, maybe we could do a follow-up one and go through some more questions on that.
November. So early November.
All right.
Early November. You heard
early
it here.
November. Here we go.
We said this in
said it at Ignite.
Ask the Experts.
I know.
You heard it here, okay?
Yeah.
You heard it here third.
Awesome. All right, folks. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you on the interwebs. See ya.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So welcome to the fire.
been waiting for this moment, the final battle of the chosen. See, I'm never gonna quit, got my legacy